Michael Gleam on the stand, the forensic examiner with the FBI. Let's talk about his testimony with our guests, what the point was here, his purpose on the stand. We have in studio criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor Marie Pereira. We also have joining us remotely national trial attorney Michael Jaafar is with us. Good to have you both on to talk about this case. Michael, actually, let me start with you. This witness, we've been struggling with the purpose of him. We know this is a large type of sprawling scheme that the prosecution has to prove here. What do you think is the biggest hole in their case?
Oh, they have many holes in their case. They have orbs of reasonable doubt, because this is, take the exact opposite of this. Let's just say we're talking about a gun case, right? Where, hey, we know that this bullet created this wound channel in the heart and it caused the death of this person, and your fingerprints were on the gun and the metals, you know, the casings and the gun match one another. That's simple, right? Juries can understand that. We're talking about the most difficult. I'm having a hard time following it. I understand it, right? But I'm having a hard time following it. The biggest holes in their case is that they only have holes in their case. They hate this woman. They absolutely detest this woman. They exhumed his body. They brought the charges years later. They hate her for good reason, but they're like crawling over broken glass to show the jury that she brought in the insulin, which she clearly, there's credible testimony that she was very nefarious in bringing in the insulin. I think the jury will find that. But now, finding that the insulin came from the vial into his blood, I mean, he was a former bodybuilder. I know former bodybuilders take metformin. They're not strangers to needles. They titrate their blood sugar in very, very, very dangerous ways. They will tell you that. Don't take my word for it. So I think there's only reasonable doubt from in the killing point of the insulin went from this bottle and a little bit of it went into his blood and that causes death. It's tough. So I don't know how they're going to do it. I'm watching them basically do a pole vault maneuver in the legal sense.
Tough case. Michael Jaafar, is this a without parole case, or should the jury have come back with an opportunity, not that he would get out necessarily in 50 years, but at least an opportunity to go before the parole board, especially given his young age?
I hate the extremeness of these life without parole for somebody that young, but at the same time, his victim was younger. This is better than lethal injection, which they would do in Tennessee. It's sad. Ask me in 50 years, I might change my mind if I'm still alive. But at the end of the day, right now, it seems just, he really tortured her. I mean, she's somebody's daughter, she's somebody's sister, she's somebody's friend. I think it was just, I have a somber tone because at the end of the day, there's no winners in this, just losers. And it's gonna suck. But again, for him, it's better than lethal injection. So I'll go with it.
Inside Michael Jaafar, that she didn't ask for an autopsy of a 38-year-old man who dies while she was, I'm not going to say he was in her care, but she was the one with him when he collapsed, when he was sick, when he needed to go to the hospital. But your thoughts on this medical examiner not really being able to give this jury much more information than we started with?
It's unfortunate, Julia. It's unfortunate. Here's why. The state of Virginia, West Virginia clearly hates this woman, and they believe that she did it. Now, I can understand why they never brought the charges, why they ruled his death from natural causes, because at the end of the day, they bought into the illusion that all her victims bought into. She's a successful pharmacist. She has no reason. He's her high school sweetheart. You know, it's just the most logical thing to do. Occam's razor, right? The thing that's most likely the explanation is the explanation at the time, right? Then when her Ponzi scheme was uncovered, then they all of a sudden started saying, oh, wait a minute, maybe she killed him. I'm proud of them for bringing this case. I'm proud of them for exhuming this young man, because at the end of the day, I'd like to know I live in a society where the people and the powers that be actually use their power, not just to make sure they win, but to make sure they ensure justice, because sometimes that isn't always the case. At the end of the day, if you really think about it, they know that this is a difficult case. The people who brought this case are not making a profit by bringing this case. They're not getting an extra salary for doing it. They have nothing to benefit other than to put a bad person behind bars who's already behind bars. I'm proud of them for bringing this case. This medical examiner, you know, he testified truthfully. It is what it is. But at the end of the day, this is what happens when you have to exhume a body and when the facts are so remote. It is maybe possible that Natalie Cochran, the monster, is going to get away with murder. I hate to say it. I'm not saying I hope it happens, but it just might happen where she does it. But that's why the state is going out of their way to make sure that the jury hates this woman. And I think they do hate this woman. And one of her attorneys also kind of helped them out by being super abrasive to some of the witnesses. But at the end of the day, the state is just going to have to rest on the fact that the jury hates this woman. They hope that she hates them. And I want to also have people be careful with this whole motive and he was part of the Ponzi scheme. They should be careful what they wish for, because even if the jury believes he knew about the Ponzi scheme, in my opinion, she had even more of a motive to kill him. So either way, the jury is going to go back to the jury room once this case is done, hating this woman and trying to find a way to convict her. That's just my thesis on the case.